Hello and welcome to part 4 of my 3.0 avatar tutorial series. Last time we looked at how to add some emotes and animations to your avatars, and in this one I'm going to show you how to add toggles, aka props and items and such. I'm also going to show you how to change materials or toggle different materials on your avatar. In this case, we're going to change the print on the hoodie and her hair color. And we're going to toggle that on and off in game. Originally, I was supposed to show you how to add audio to avatars. But as of recording this, they do not work properly in game. So that's going to have to be a separate video. But I'll make that one when someone figures out how to get them to work. But anyway, let's jump right into it. Right, so if you haven't watched the previous videos I've made on this series, I highly suggest you do, because we're gonna cover some things that we set up on our avatar earlier, especially the expressions one, because we're gonna be focusing on the effects controller that we assigned to our avatar earlier. But just in case you haven't, you can find it in the SDK folder, examples 3, animations controllers, and it should be the one called hands layer. Just make a copy of that, put it into your animation folder, and name it FX or whatever you want, and assign it to your FX part in your avatar descriptor. Anyway, I've already got a beanie here that I'm gonna give her, and we're gonna toggle that off, on and off in game. So your items should always be FBX files. I'm not sure if other types work, but if you already made your model in Blender, then you know how to make an FBX file. So anyway, drag that FBX file into Unity, make sure all the materials work, etc., and then just drag and drop the FBX file into your hierarchy. And there you go, it already looks pretty good. I'm just gonna scale that just so it works a little bit better. I don't think I can make this work 100% because she's got the bun, but we'll see. And there we go, that's about as good as I can do. It's still not perfect, but if you're gonna add clothing that you want to toggle, I highly suggest you scale a piece of clothing or whatever in Blender and leave it as a separate mesh on your avatar when you import it into Unity, because scaling things in Unity, it just isn't that good. But just in case you don't know, you select your article here in the hierarchy and you use these. You got the rotate tool, the scale tool, and the move tools. And you can use those to make things fit as good as you can. This doesn't look very well. It looks a little, it's too high end, but I can't delete the mesh of the hair because I want it to be shown too. So we're just gonna roll with this. Now what you want to do is parent the item you want to toggle into your avatar. So since we're working with a hoodie, we're going to parent it to the head. So open up your model in the hierarchy, click armature, and we're going to find the head. And we're just going to drag and drop this over to the head. And there you go. Now it's a child of the head armature. Now, depending on if you want the item to be hidden by default, you need to hide the item in the inspector tab, like so. Or if you want to make a toggle to hide it, then you can just leave it on. But for this, we're going to leave it off first, and then we're going to toggle it on. Now then, we need to do the controller part. So find your FX controller, go to Animator, and we are going to add a new parameter. just click on parameters, click the little plus sign, initiate, and we're gonna call this beanie toggle. Now remember this because you're gonna have to add this to your parameters later. So maybe just copy that name. And then go back to layers, click on the plus sign, and call this one beanie toggle or whatever you want. It doesn't really matter. I'm just gonna name it the same as the parameters. Click on the little cog and put the weight to 1. Now this is where we're gonna drop our animations that we're gonna make next. But just so we won't forget, let's add the parameters. So find your parameters and your main menu that you've assigned to your avatar descriptor. We did that in the last video. Open up the parameters one, and we're gonna paste the parameter that we just made in here. And then I think we're gonna make a sub menu for our toggles because we already have one for emotes and dances. So right click, create Vrchat avatars expressions menu. And I'm just gonna call that toggles. Then click on our main menu, add control, give it a name, toggles. You can give it an icon if you want. Set the type to submenu, and now drag the toggle submenu that you just made into the submenu part. There you go. Now we've made a submenu under our main menu that we're going to put all our toggles in. And we also added the parameter so that it should actually work. There we go. Oh, we might actually want to add it to our submenu as well. So we're going to call this beanie, make the type a toggle, and the parameter should be the one we just added in here, and the parameters thing. So select that one, beanie toggle, and leave the value at 1. There we go. We added the layer and the parameter we just made into our toggle menu. Now we need to work on the animations to hide and show the beanie. So to do that, I'm just gonna delete this one, ignore that one, and we need to make a copy of our avatar where we're gonna make the animation. So select your avatar in the hierarchy and hit Ctrl D to duplicate it. And now, if you don't already have, you can make a dummy animation controller. I think I have one called test, but just in case you don't, you just right click, create, and make an animation controller. Call it whatever you want. And we're gonna assign this, let me just hide the original model. We're gonna assign the dummy controller onto our copy of our avatar. Just drag and drop dummy controller into the controller part under the animator on your copy. There we go. Now open up that dummy controller and just gonna delete that. Yours is gonna look like this. Now we're gonna make 2 animations on and off for the beanie. So just right click, create animation. We're gonna call this beanie on. Drag and drop that into the animator. There you go. So you can see a transition from entry to beanie on. And then we're gonna go back to scene, select the copy of our avatar, go to animation. If you don't have an animation tab, you can find it under window, animations, animation, or hit Ctrl 6. Now then, since the hoodie, I mean the beanie, is already part of our armature, let me just check that it's there. Yes, it's under our head. We can add it to the properties, or add a property for it. Just click on Add Property and find the beanie under Armature, Hips, Spine, Chest, Neck, Head, and there it is. Select the beanie, click on the arrow to do the drop down, and then you'll see Is Active. Now click on the little plus sign next to it. And there you go. Your object is added to the animation. Now it's hidden by default. Now to check that it actually works, you just click on Preview. And there you go. It works. Now we only need this animation to be 1 frame long. So over here, let me just move myself out of the way. Over here, you'll see the last frame of the animation. So just click on that, delete, move back to your first one, copy it with Control-C, and move ahead 1 frame. Or you can just type in 1 over here. And then just hit Control-V to paste it. And there you go. You have 1 frame of animation with your beanie toggled on. Now what we need to do is make another animation with that beanie toggled off. So we're going to find our animation, beanie on. I'm going to duplicate it with Control-D. I'm just going to rename this to beanie off. And now we're going to throw this animation into the test animation controller, which should already be selected since it's part of your copy of your avatar. Delete beanie on and throw in beanie off. And go back to scene, animation, preview. And the only thing you need to do is uncheck this on both of the frames. And there you go. That's the off toggle. Good job. Now we're gonna assign those 2 animations to the effects layer that we made earlier. So we can hide this, the copy of our avatar, and unhide the original one. Go back to Projects, find the effects layer, Animator, and under Layers, click the beanie toggle. You should have an empty controller. Now just select the animations and drop them right here. For me, I want the default state to be off. So this is right, it should go from entry to off. But if you want the beanie or whatever you're toggling to be on by default, then you want it to go to on. So you would just delete that and throw it back in. But we want it to be off by default, so we're going to do it in this order. Now what we need to do is make a transition from off to on and from on to off again. And to do that, we're just going to right click, make transition, drag it to the on animation, click on the transition itself. We can uncheck has exit time, we don't need that. And then we're going to give it a new condition. Let's just click on the little plus sign. First drop down menu, we're going to grab our beanie toggle parameter that we made right over here. Beanie toggle equals 1. That means whenever the parameter is toggled in the menu, state goes from off to on. And then we're just going to make another one from on to off. Make sure exit time is off. Add the condition beanie toggle not equals 1. There you go. You made a simple state machine. From entry, it's already supposed to be off. When it's toggled, it goes to on, and when it's toggled again, it goes off. And there you go. That's basically all you need for toggles. Since we already built the menu, we're pretty much done with that. But I'm going to show you how to change the materials. The overall process is still the same, but we need to do a little extra steps on the animation part. All right, so the first thing we want to do is make another parameter and layer in our effects controller. Make a new parameter again, initiate. We're gonna call this, or let's call it a hoodie toggle. I guess that makes more sense. We're gonna copy that name again, go to layers, make a new layer, call this something like hoodie print toggle. Doesn't really matter. Make sure to click on the cog and change the weight to 1. And there's our empty state machine. Now we're gonna add this toggle into our menu. So find your toggle sub menu first. Add control. Call this hoodie toggle. Well, let's just call it hoodie change, something like that. Change the type to a toggle. Parameter. Oh, I forgot to add the parameters. Find your parameters menu and add the parameter that you just made. So hoodie toggle. There we go. Now we can go back to our sub menu and select the parameter hoodie toggle equals 1. And that's pretty much all you should need to do on this one. Now we can move on to the animation. So again, we're gonna make a new empty animation. We're gonna call this hoodie 1. And then what you want to do is find your materials for your avatar. They should be in a folder called materials. And there we go. Now, depending on how you add list your materials in Blender, you might only have one, and then you're pretty much stuck. You'd have to change everything. But for this model, I left my hoodie material as a separate one. And also my hair. I'm going to show you how to change that too. So what we want to do is select our hoodie material and our hair material and duplicate those with Control D. Give those a name. Rename this to something like hair 2 and hoodie 2. Now we're going to change the texture on these two materials. Well, actually, we don't need to do anything for the hair just now, just the hoodie. So click on the copy of your hoodie material, and over here on the shaders, we're using Poyomi because Poyomi is the best. And under main, you should see main texture. Now you should have your textures close to your original FBX. It should be named after the FBX model. And there we go. If you don't already have different textures, you can just drag and drop them into this folder or wherever you'll find them. It doesn't really matter. Now I have some different textures for my hoodie over here, and I'm going to put those into the material. So now that you found your textures, we're going to go back to materials, click on the second material for our hoodie. Go over here and click on the little padlock, just so this will stay in place when we navigate through the other folders. Go back to your textures, and all you need to do is drag and drop the texture you want to change over to the main texture of the copy of your hoodie material. Now I am gonna do the same thing for the hair. I'm just gonna click on the second hair material, and over here I think I'm gonna change it to a red. In this case, you should drag and drop whatever the hair material is onto your avatar, like so. And we're gonna change the color and alpha to red. That's already pretty good. You mess around with the saturation a little bit. That looks pretty nice. We're gonna stick with that. Now you can just drag and drop the original material onto your model again. And there we go. Now we have a copy of our hair material and a copy of our hoodie material, and we're gonna make a animation where those will change, and then another one where we're gonna change back to the original ones. So now we're gonna go back to our the copy of our avatar. Let's hide our original one first and unhide our copy. And we made that emote somewhere. Please organize your animations a little better than I have. And there we go, hoodie 1. And we're gonna find our test controller. Click on animator. You can delete that one. And draw in our hoodie animation. Go back to scene, animation, and this is where things get a little more trickier. We want to click on the little record button, the red circle. Now, whatever changes you make for the avatar should appear in the animation. So once that record button is off, you're gonna go back to project, find your materials, and you're just gonna drag and drop the materials onto your avatar. There you go, the print changed and the hair changed. Now if we go back to animation, we should see that the materials appeared in the animator. And that's how you change materials. Now what we want to do is make this into a single frame animation. So we can just select both of our materials in the animation, click Ctrl C to copy, move ahead 1 frame and hit Ctrl V. And there you go. You can click on the record button again because we're done recording the animation. And now we have a animation to change our materials. And now we need to make the other animation where we're going to change the materials back. So we're just going to find our animations, make a copy of the one we just edited, throw that onto our dummy animator, like so. Go back to scene, animation, and hit record again. Find your materials and just drag and drop the original ones onto your model. And there you go. They are recorded into the animation. Well, the first frame anyway. Don't forget to copy and paste that onto the other frame as well. And there you go. Now we have both animations that we need, and we're going to assign those to the FX controller again. So find your FX controller, go to animator, find your the layer you made, and just drag and drop those in again. Now for this one, we want it to be the first one, or the second one we made, so the default the textures and materials. And then we're going to throw in the first one we made, and we're just going to make the transitions from default to the new ones and from the new ones to the default ones. Make a transition, uncheck has exit time, add a new condition, hoodie toggle equals 1. And another one back, uncheck has exit time, hoodie toggle not equals 1. And there you go. That's pretty much all you need to do. you can hide the copy of your avatar, go back to, toggle on the original one. And there we go. That's pretty much all you have to do. You can upload your avatar and we'll see if everything works. And here we are in Vrchat. And we'll see if this properly. Open up your radio menu, go to expressions and the toggle sub menu that we made. And hoodie change works pretty well. Changes the hoodie print and the hair. Untoggle it, changes back. And the same thing for the beanie. It's toggled and it's toggled off. There we go. That wasn't so hard. Now, if you found these tutorials at all helpful, I would really appreciate it if you joined my Patreon that I just made. Every little bit helps. It will really motivate me to make more of these videos more quickly. Join our Discord. We have a rowdy little community going, but we love helping each other out. If you need more help, then click on the link. It's in the description, and we'll have a lot of fun. Follow me on the social medias. I try to stream on Twitch more often. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.